Congress will not be happy. What sort of reactions have we seen so far?
Well, already they're criticizing this. And in fact, it was just yesterday, Sherry, that Republican lawmakers went to the White House and urged him to reconsider the trade deal, but also urged him to reconsider how he is lifting these trade restrictions on ZTE. Now, earlier today, I spoke with a source who works frequently with ZTE, who essentially said they're still perusing the details of this. This came as a bit of somewhat of a shock to those working with ZTE, because the crux of this negotiated deal, and in terms of the compliance component as well as the restructuring, is really something that the United States had asked for as far back as the Obama administration, that President Trump decided to enact in March of 2017. So there appears right now to be an additional $1 billion fine in addition to the $1.19 billion settlement from last spring. But the crux of the restructuring is exactly what the U.S. had asked for last spring, and ZTE didn't comply for it. Now, the congressional reaction, as you mentioned, Republicans are very uneasy about this. In fact, it was as far back as 2012 that they had cited national security concerns. And people like Senator Marco Rubio, a Republican from Florida, really coming to the forefront of this issue and urging the president to reconsider because of national security concerns and because of their essentially ignoring the concerns of the U.S. doing business, or I'm sorry, of ZTE doing business with Iran and North Korea. Now, the ZTE folks tell me, hey, wait a minute. You want to go after the fourth largest telecom giant in the world, backed by the Chinese government. What do you think the Chinese response will be if the U.S. holds on to this? And we know from what President Trump has said that it was Xi Jinping himself who asked President Trump to reconsider this whole thing.
So, Marty, the crux of the thing, as Kevin talks about, what is the crux of the thing? Is it the sanctions over North Korea and Iran? Is it a larger trade deal? Or is it actually more strategic and national security? Because Mark Warner, who's the vice chair of the Intelligence Committee, came out right away with a tweet, really condemned it, saying the idea of embedding a compliance team at ZTE is a nice talking point, but unless the Trump administration plans to open an FBI counter intel field office inside the company, Beijing is about to get one heck of a deal on a backdoor into U.S. telecom networks. This is 5G.
Yeah, this is 5G. There, all of those things that you mentioned play into this, not the least of which is this trade issue that is confronting Donald Trump. He wants to cut a deal with China. They are negotiating. If he were to maintain the ZTE decision the way it was, there was a chance that China was going to totally back away from the trade discussions. So it's clearly trade. But as Senator Warner points out, within the national security apparatus, there are grave concerns.
Senator Chuck Schumer also, Marty, saying that it is up to Congress to reverse the ZTE deal. But is it possible?
Certainly it's possible if they were able to pass a law, but they're not going to be able to. There's just not enough support, and Kevin can back me up on this, in Congress to overturn what the president has decided. So there is grave concern over how these deals are being done by the White House and an overreach of executive authority over legislative prerogatives. So there is concern about it, but there's not enough will in Congress to overturn it.